Hello, my name is Summer Janae and welcome back to my channel. Today I have two very important topics I would like to talk to you about, as it relates to long COVID. The very first thing I would like to talk to you about today is long COVID fatigue. The reason I want to talk to you about COVID fatigue or long COVID fatigue is because typically, if the average person doesn't have long COVID, they may experience fatigue as you're cycling through COVID. I have personally had COVID 3 times now. The latest infection was about 3 weeks ago. And I can tell you that the second time I had COVID, my fatigue was worse than. I remember trying to just get out of the bed, if you will, to make it to the shower. And then the one day that I did make it to the shower, it was like I got in the shower and I was in the middle of my shower. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. What do I do? I didn't know if I should just try to finish the shower or if I should stop and then go dry off and go get my clothes on and go get back in the bed. It was a hot mess. So that was with my second round of COVID. With my first round of COVID, I remember being fatigued afterwards, but not so much during, when I can compare the first time to the second time to the third time. And then this last time I would say was definitely a little rough. I remember also getting in the shower this time when I finally made it like to the bed. I would say the second day after I was diagnosed was really bad. And so that would have been a Wednesday. And like, I remember trying to just get out of the bed to go to the shower. And I don't think I made it to the shower that Wednesday. But that Thursday, I did make it to the shower. And then when I made it to the shower on that Thursday, that I had another episode where I was so fatigued that I thought, oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't have came and gotten a shower today. My arms were heavy, like my arms felt like I was running a marathon. Um, so COVID fatigue is real. I still have days, even almost 3 weeks later, where I'm just extremely tired. And so at this cycle in my for those of you who have watched my previous videos, you know I acquired an autoimmune arthritis from the first time I had COVID. So I'm in the treatment cycle for my infusion. It's due next Friday, so I don't know if it's coupled, my fatigue is coupled with the recent COVID infection and the fact that I'm in the window to have another infusion. But I'm noticing some extreme fatigue. And so just a few moments ago, I mentioned how heavy my arms felt. I can tell you this kind of leads me into the second topic I want to talk about, which is closely related to fatigue. O2 levels, your oxygen level, or my oxygen levels, I should say. I'm not sure if yours are, but I would highly recommend, if you've had a COVID infection or recently, or you're experiencing any of the things that I'm talking about, that you get a pulse ox. And you can get those from any like drugstore or like Walmart or Target or something like that, or Amazon, if you can't get out to physically go to the store to get it. Or what I noticed when my last Fitbit fell apart and I wanted to get a new watch, I kind of looked at, I'm a Samsung girl, so I kind of looked at the Samsung watches and I just didn't like the aesthetics of the watches, if you will. So I ended up getting another Fitbit, and this is the one I have. I'll drop the name or a picture of what I have, but this one, I got this one because it actually measures my O2 levels. And so I've looked back at my levels through my Fitbit around the time frame I was having problems, and I could see from my watch that my O2 levels had dipped around the time frame I was having the problem. So I'm saying all that to say, if you're experiencing any symptoms that I am going over in this video, make sure you can stay on top of your O2 levels. I'm not sure if I published the video or not, but I did have an episode with my O2 levels. I was experiencing, I would say, the day I tested out of quarantine. I was gonna go to Best Buy to pick up a mouse for my Surface Pro so I could better edit my videos for YouTube. And on my way to Best Buy, and I was gonna use the curbside pickup and put my mask on. On my way to Best Buy, I had this really big cough. Like I felt it in my chest and my chest was hurting and I coughed up mucus. So as I was driving, I didn't have anything to spit the mucus in. So I held it kind of like over in my cheek area waiting for me to stop. And at that point, based on the way I was feeling in my chest, I was like, last time I had COVID, it rolled into COVID pneumonia. So let me go see if we can get ahead of this, because I was feeling the same way I was feeling in June when I had the upper respiratory infection. And I was trying to prevent it from lingering like it did in June. So when I got there, for those of you who may have saw the other video, sorry, I'm just going to be brief. When I got there to tell them about what was going on with my chest, and what I was feeling, they got wrapped around the axle, because when they checked my oxygen levels, my O2 levels were in the low 80s. And then so they went and was like, well, maybe something's wrong with this pulse ox. And so then they went and got another one. So I have 2 fingers going with pulse ox, and the second one they picked up was in the 70s. So I can show you videos from the last time I had COVID where my numbers like really dipped. So I saw something back then saying the pulse ox for people of color aren't really accurate. So I don't know like to what magnitude they're not accurate, but I did manage to at that time buy another pulse ox to see if I could get higher readings, if you will, on it. But you'll see in some of the pictures I got down to like 60. They were in the 70s a lot. So I'm bringing up the O2 levels because for me, I was not aware that when I talked a lot, or I walked a lot, or if I walked and talked, that like just really made it bad. But my levels would drop to what would be considered unacceptable levels. So I'm having this conversation with you so that you can be aware. And so it happens so often, like once I figured out what it was and they gave me the oxygen and the converter to use at home, once I figured out what it was, I could then go off the physical symptoms I was having or feeling in my body, which the primary one, I could always tell they were low. My O2 levels were low if my arms felt like I never run a marathon, but it felt like I ran a marathon. They were like so heavy to even like lift, and I can't explain it. And then initially, before they figured out what it was, I think I'd made like 2 or 3 trips to the emergency room telling them, hey, I'm having shortness of breath and I can't breathe, or something's going on. And they would send me home and say, well, we ran all the tests, everything looks fine. But I thank God for the nurse at Scott and White who was getting ready to she was triaging me to discharge me. And she was the one who caught it. She ended up saying, hey, why don't you come take a walk with me and let's bring the machine. And so she was monitoring and talking to me. We're having just a regular conversation, and she's asking me, well, how do you feel? And I said, well, I feel okay, just, a little shortness of breath. But by the time she checked it, while I was walking and talking. And then by the time I sat back down, and she was like, well, I know I just said before that you were going to go home, but we can't send you home because your levels dropped to the point that we cannot legally release you from the hospital. So you have to stay overnight according to our protocols because your levels dropped too low. But the good news is you don't have to wait for oxygen or a machine. We already have it with you. You can take it with you when you leave, but based on hospital protocols, you have to stay overnight. So the O2 levels dropping is a really big thing post-COVID. So if you don't remember anything else I say to you, make sure you have a way to check your O2 levels, because if you're anything like me, you don't know that they've dropped or they're dropping. For me, my indicator was and is like my arms get really heavy. So once I'm to the point that my arms are feeling heavy, I already know what's going on. I currently do not have oxygen right now. They did have to give me oxygen before I left the urgent care. They ended up transporting me to the emergency room, but they had the oxygen crate so high at the urgent care that by the time I got to the emergency room and they came in and they were checking me out, everything was back fine because I wasn't walking and talking and doing all the other stuff that I was doing when I walked into the urgent care. So we talked about O2 levels. Make sure you understand what's a good level for you. We also talked about COVID fatigue. Make sure you understand what your limitations are, and please don't be hard on yourself. Know that because COVID affects the lungs and inflammation in your body, that even after you've cleared the virus, you can still experience fatigue. You can still experience what pretty much whatever symptoms your body is going to display because you may be in the category for long COVID. So I just wanted to share the fatigue and O2 level oxygen pulse ox information with you so that you are aware and you can take better care of yourself. Thank you so much for stopping by to see my and watching my YouTube video. Thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button and also hitting the notification bell so that you are aware when I drop new content. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. Have an amazingly blessed rest of your day and go be great.